Hello ladies and gentlemen, Adrian here for Digital Dojos, and today we're going to be talking about Uber CEO Travis Kalanick, who recently resigned. So, official as of yesterday, amidst a lot of turmoil and a lot of things going on in the, surrounding the tech giant that is, the startup that is Uber, Travis Kalanick, one of the founders and CEO of Uber, has officially stepped down. Now, a lot of people either A, saw this coming, or they saw some sort of big shakeup, because Uber has definitely been in the, kind of the news cycle, especially just in the recent, last couple of weeks to months, given a lot of stuff. So, Travis Kalanick, he was one of the co-founders of Uber back in 2009, has a personal net worth of 7+ billion. So, he's definitely doing well still, but he'll continue to remain on the board despite resigning and stepping down as CEO. But let's talk a little bit about how it got to this point and going forward, what this means and why I think it's, a bigger story. Uber, by all means, is something that I think is pretty synonymous now with ride sharing. I mean, of course, there's a Lyft, there's other apps out there. Of course, there's still taxi services, but nowadays in the ride sharing world, almost internationally known is the service that is Uber. I mean, Travis Kalanick, along with the team, really came in and took over this space, in methods that could be argued as good and bad, but they got to the point they were nonetheless. Now, amidst a lot of business turmoil and even personal, things that are going on, Uber's been in the news a lot lately. I mean, ranging from back in February when I think it was a company called Waymo sued them, and that's a company that's under Google for stealing autonomous car secrets. More recently, Susan Fowler, one of the previous engineer over at Uber, filed claims of sexual harassment in the workplace and gender bias, and kind of lifted the curtains to a lot of the stuff that was going on in the Uber environment. Not necessarily aimed at Travis himself, but more so employees in the company and so on and so forth, and how it was kind of just swept under the rug. Stolen iPhone data, back with the Tim Cook story that was released by I think it was the New York Times, talking about how they got scolded by Tim Cook and Apple because Uber was recording data on the early versions of the app. To most recently, were given that allegations of the sexual harassment and whatnot, they actually hired Eric Holder to probe the company, to research and look and investigate, which ultimately led to I think a layoff of 20+ employees. And then outside of all that business turmoil, you have the personal issues that stem not just from the overall pressure and stress, but Travis Kalanick's mother and father were in an accident, I think a couple weeks ago, and his mother ended up passing as a result of that accident. So you have this, major business issues going on. You have this major image issue going on. Then you have this personal issue that obviously takes place in the CEO's life. There's just a lot piling up there. All of this obviously led to the board, out of 5 members, forcing Travis to resign as CEO. After deliberation with other members, Travis, decided to step down. In his statement, he was quoted saying, I love Uber more than anything in the world, and at this difficult moment in my personal life, I have accepted the investors' request to step aside so that Uber can go back to building rather than be distracted with another fight. Now, all this said, there's a lot going on here, right? This is a CEO of a very well-known startup. This is a very well-known company, well-known app, service, whatever you want to call it, that is in the process of rebuilding, and it's still definitely at the top of its space, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. However, there is a lot of stuff to be rebuilt here. Now, I do agree that when it comes to a company coming from somebody who runs a business nowhere near the size of Uber, but just in general, when it comes to leadership, it stems from the top. So even if the allegations weren't directly towards Travis Kalanick, obviously a lot of this behavior stems from the top, and it has to be overseen as such. But at the same time, I can only imagine the pressure and everything it takes to be forced out of a company like that you built to a 70+ billion evaluated company. Now, what does this mean for Uber going forward, as they call it Uber 2.0? Does this mean under new leadership, obviously, that they're going to assume that it gives Uber a new direction, it gives them a new face, a new brand in a sense? Does this help, re-image them in a sense? Because as of now, Travis will remain on the board. The board is obviously seeking out a new CEO to take over the helms at Uber. I think it's no question that there is definitely, leadership changes that need to be made, or things that need to be organized. I don't know if it goes as far I don't know the ins and outs yeah, enough to comment on like what the right decision there is to be made, but nonetheless, it is something that's going to shake up a lot of things within the company. Whoever comes in obviously assumes a big role to take Uber to the next level. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean autonomous cars? Does that mean, expanding into different areas? How do they compete? How do they, rebuild that trust with their customers, with the public, as a brand? There's a lot of questions left here. But obviously, it is a big shakeup. I mean, maybe not, in the sense of where you can equate something like this to, like, I think about Steve Jobs when he was forced out of Apple and then forced to start Next, and then Next eventually bought Apple. That's arguably Apple is a very, very big company, but I mean, 70 billion isn't something to scoff at either. And regardless of what you may think personally of the CEO or the company as a whole, there's no question that Uber has paved the way for ride sharing in general, and will do so as, whatever company comes next, or, whatever may happen with Uber personally. It has paved the way for ride sharing applications and made that a standard, I think, and will only continue to do so. So I think just an interesting story. I think it's an important one to be told, and a big discussion going on in the tech industry. So I would love to hear your thoughts down below. Do you think this is the right move? What do you think the future of Uber, where does that lie? Who are good potential CEO candidates? All of those are, really big topics right now in the tech scene. So as always, thanks for watching. You can check out more coverage and more content over at digitaldojos.com. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you aren't already. And with that, I'll catch you all in the next one.